the celebratory gunfire. Even government employees are returning to work. Dozens of them arrived at Syria's central bank today. They're hoping for a fresh start.
God willing, we will start a new shift, a new day, a new year, a new life, everything new.
So far, things are stable. We haven't heard reports of widespread looting or revenge attacks or violent flare-ups. But symbols of the Assad regime remain vulnerable, especially portraits and statues. Look at what happened at the National Library in Damascus. A lot of focus is also on the Sednaya prison. It's located on the outskirts of the capital. Former prisoners tell horrid tales of this facility. It's often called the human slaughterhouse or the Syrian gulag. When Assad fell, Syrians rushed to this prison. They tried to free their jailed family members. Thousands of them did make it out. But reports say the rescue mission is now over. So all in all, it's a tentative march to stability. You can't call it normal. But it's not a breakdown either. Which brings us to the Syrian rebel groups. How are they shifting from rebellion to ruling? Well, the main group is the HTS, the Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. They led the blitzkrieg to oust Bashar al-Assad. And now they're forming a government. Yesterday, the HTS leader met Syria's outgoing prime minister. Listen to what he said.
The young men have gained a lot of experience. They started working from nothing. Idlib is small and has no resources, but thank God, we were able to achieve something big during the past period. You will see experience. It's not zero.
That's Abu Muhammad al-Julani, former al-Qaeda fighter turned rebel leader in Syria. He has picked an interim prime minister for Syria. His name is Mohammed al-Bashir. He too is a senior leader of the HTS. Now, you may have noticed something in Julani's remarks. He says that his men have experience ruling. How is that? You see, the HTS controlled Idlib and much of northern Syria. They basically ran a parallel government in this region. And that is why Julani says that he has experience, his team has experience. But will it be enough to rule all of Syria?
What if you could make $5,000 to $20,000 flipping houses without using your own money, without risk, and without...
He's facing both internal and external challenges. The external one is Israel. Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel cheered the downfall of Bashar al-Assad, but he also senses an opportunity here. Israeli troops have occupied a buffer zone with Syria. It's located in the Golan Heights region. This area legally belongs to Syria, but Israel has been occupying it. Since the 1967 war, it's been under Israeli control for almost 6 decades. Some reports also say that Israeli tanks have been spotted deep inside Syria, just 25 kilometers from Damascus. But Israel has denied these reports. What they have admitted is taking over the buffer zone. Israel is calling it a limited and temporary operation.
We are taking all the actions necessary to try to ensure our security with regard to the new situation created in Syria. Together with Defense Minister Israel Katz and with the backing of all cabinet members, I instructed the IDF to seize the buffer zone between us and Syria and the positions controlling and adjacent to it.
Not just ground operations, Israel is also attacking from the skies. Reports say they have launched some 300 airstrikes on Syria, and the targets, mostly weapons and ammunition depots. The idea is to destroy them before terrorists get their hands on them. But the rest of the world is worried. Arab countries have condemned Israel's actions. They say Netanyahu is grabbing land while Syria is busy. Members of the UN Security Council also agree. All of them have backed Syria's territorial integrity. The United Nations has asked Israel to back off.
And then a very troubling development. We are continuing to see Israeli movements and bombardments into Syrian territory. This needs to stop. Extremely important that we don't see any action from any international actor that destroys the possibility for this transformation in Syria to take place.
And that's the external challenge for the rebels, Israel trying to take up Syrian land. Now the internal challenge, starting an inclusive political process. Let me pull up the map for you. The rebels and Julani do not control all of Syria. Kurdish groups have influence in the northeast. These are fighters backed by the United States. Can Julani bring them to the table? We've seen mixed signals so far. Some reports mention clashes between Turkey-backed rebels and US-backed Kurds. But in one city, they struck a deal, the northeastern city of Manjib. Kurds and rebels were fighting in this city, but their backers, Turkey and the US, signed a deal. So the Kurds have begun withdrawing. Even in Assad's hometown, there was a breakthrough. It's a city dominated by the Alawite sect. It's a Muslim minority group, the Alawites. Most Syrian Alawites had supported Assad's rule. But reports say they have now welcomed the rebels. If true, it's a boost to the legitimacy of the new rulers. Most countries in the region will be watching these moves closely, but none more intently than Turkey. This country is home to some 3 million Syrian refugees, and President Erdogan is keen to send them back home. Hundreds of Syrians are lining up at the Turkish border. Erdogan says he is opening the gates.
It is my belief that our Syrian brothers' longing for their country, which has lasted 13 years, will slowly end now. We have started seeing signs of this already. To prevent congestion and to ease traffic, we are opening the Yeladaji border gate for crossing.
The rebels are certainly moving fast, but the danger is not over yet. Prolonged instability could lead to more radicalism. The US is worried about that. They believe the ISIS will try to use this period of churn. And they've got a point. The HTS leader Julani used to fight for Al-Qaeda and ISIS. He may claim to have changed, but the world cannot take him at his word.